Okay, so this is for the Monday, Tuesday class. I think we ended up with the situation on the lack of sufficient provocation or yung third element ng self-defense natin. So remember the situation? While B, while A was riding a motorcycle and B was also riding a motorcycle, A surpassed or inovertake niya yung motor ni B. Because of this, B shouted at A, saying, "Kamote, walang alam, bobo." At dahil sa mga sinabi ni B kay A, nagalit si A, so he then attacked B with a knife. B saw this coming, so eventually he pulled out his gun and he shot A. Namatay si A as a result. So if a case of homicide will be filed against B, can he now invoke self-defense? Sinabi natin, if we're going to ask the question whether self-defense is applicable, we have to go through the three elements. May unlawful aggression ba? Reasonable necessity? At saka meron bang lack of sufficient provocation dun sa part ng accused? Dito sa situation, we already know na merong unlawful aggression kasi the unlawful aggression on the part of the victim is A attacking B with a knife. The second element will be, was the act of the accused reasonably necessary in order to avoid or prevent the unlawful aggression? Yes. In this situation, tama lang na nilabas niya yung baril at binaril niya si A so that he can avoid the attack of A with a knife. So we have one and two elements are satisfied. The question now would be, was there lack of sufficient provocation on the part of B? Kung kulang or wala namang sufficient provocation on the part of B, then we can already say it is self-defense. So the question is this considered or yung ginawa ba ni B dito sa una, is it considered sufficient provocation? Sinabi natin that B can claim self-defense. Ibig sabihin, there's lack of sufficient provocation on the part of B. Bakit kaya? Bakit hindi natin masasabi na sufficient provocation yung ginawa ni B kay A? Bakit? Because let's go to our definition of, ayan, provocation under the third element. For the provocation to be sufficient, we have to remember na yung provocation mismo na gagawin ng akusado natin, it is proportionate to the act of aggression of the victim. Ibig sabihin, dapat magkapareho daw yung provocation ni accused at saka yung ginawa ng biktima para masabi natin na sufficient. Kung may sufficient provocation, therefore, hindi pwedeng mag-claim ng self-defense sana yung accused. However, in this situation, let's go back to the question. Magkapareho ba or proportionate ba yung ginawa ni B dun sa ginawa ni A na atake? Is it equal? Pareho lang ba yung pag-insulto ah, pag-insulto ni B kay A versus sa ginawa ni A kay B na pag-atake with a knife? They are different, di ba? Kasi mas malala yung ginawa ni A. Therefore, the provocation done by B, although meron ng provocation, it is not sufficient. Therefore, in this situation, there is lack of sufficient provocation on the part of B. He can therefore claim self-defense. Just remember, dapat magkapareho daw yung ginawa ng accused or almost the same yung ginawa ng accused at saka yung ginawa ng biktima before we can say it is sufficient. Kung sufficient na siya, the accused cannot claim self-defense. So we have here situations that will now tell us that there is lack of sufficient provocation. Ibig sabihin, hindi or i-consider natin na walang ginawang masama yung accused. Therefore, he can claim self-defense. What are situations? Number one, if there is no provocation at all that was given by the person defending himself. Example, wala ito. In the first example natin, kung wala daw ginawang provocation on the part of B. This is your example. Pag walang ginawa si B, pero inatake pa rin siya ni A. There was no provocation at all on the part of the accused, but he was still attacked by the victim. Number two, even if there was provocation, it is not sufficient. Ang sabi dito, prinovoke ni accused yung biktima. Pero yung provocation na ginawa ng akusado, hindi naman sufficient or it is not enough. Example was the one we mentioned a while ago. Although may provocation si B, it is not sufficient kasi hindi naman siya equal or proportionate dun sa ginawa ni A na pag-atake with a knife. Paano natin masasabing sufficient? Kung siguro yung ginawa ni B was to attack A as well with a knife or he was about to punch A. That is what we call proportionate. But mere threats or insults will not be sufficient. Number three, even if the provocation was sufficient, it was not given by the person defending himself. Sabi dito, may provocation nga na nangyari na sufficient. Ibig sabihin, there was sufficient provocation, pero saan galing or kanino galing yung sufficient provocation? Hindi nang galing kay accused. Example, we have here B and C. Okay, so this is an example of number 3. B and C were riding in a motorcycle. Ibig sabihin, si C daw yung angkas ni B. While they were riding the motorcycle, C now attacked A. So si C, inatake niya si A with a knife. Dahil dito, naglabas rin si A ng knife, inatake niya si B. So in this situation, sa unang case dyan, or sa unang sentence, masasabi natin na sufficient yung provocation because A was also attacked with a knife. The problem is kanino or sino yung gumawa ng provocation. Hindi naman yung akusado. So ibig sabihin, pwede pa rin mag-invoke ng self-defense si accused kasi hindi naman nanggaling sa kanya yung sufficient provocation. And the last one is number 4, the provocation was not proximate and immediate to the act of aggression. Ibig sabihin dito, kahit may provocation na ginawa yung accused natin, it was not immediate. Ibig sabihin, it did not happen before or immediately before the unlawful aggression. So we have here, for example, ayan, B attacked A with a knife. So si B, yung accused natin ang pasimuno, siya mismo yung may sufficient provocation. However, between the sufficient provocation of B at saka yung unlawful aggression ni A, there is already a lapse of time. Adanti na palabas ng oras. Ibig sabihin, for example, 4 hours ago, B attacked A with a knife. Then, 4 hours after, A attacked B with a knife. In this situation, because of the lapse of time, hindi natin masasabi na sufficient yung provocation ni B. Kasi nga, nawala na. May lumipas na oras. Therefore, B can still claim self-defense despite the provocation on his part dito sa unang situation. Kasi nga may lapse of time na. These are situations that will tell us that there are lack of sufficient provocation. Therefore, our accused can now claim self-defense. Next question. What will happen dun sa kaso ng akusado natin if one or some of the requisites of self-defense are not present? What does that mean? Ano daw yung mangyayari? Diba? Our elements of self-defense and lawful aggression. Number 2, reasonable necessity of the means employed. And number 3, lack of sufficient provocation on the part of the accused. Itong tatlong ito ang kailangan nating i-prove para sa self-defense. Kung ma-prove natin ang self-defense, ma-exempt from application or civil and criminal liability ang ating accused. However, ano daw ang mangyayari pag number 1 lang ang na-prove natin pero hindi yung number 2, number 3 or number 2 lang yung na-prove natin and number 3 pero hindi yung number 1? What will happen in the situation? So we have here, okay, first situation, kung yung unlawful aggression daw ang hindi natin na-prove or the unlawful aggression is not present. Ibig sabihin, we were able to prove reasonable necessity. Na-prove ni accused yung lack of sufficient provocation, pero hindi niya na-prove na may unlawful aggression yung victim niya. Pag hindi na-prove yung unlawful aggression, hindi po pwedeng mag-claim or mag-invoke si accused ng self-defense. Very important in self-defense, dapat meron at merong unlawful aggression. Kung wala, accused will automatically be criminally liable once proven na siya naman ay guilty in that situation. Again, pag walang unlawful aggression, no self-defense at all. Paano naman pag yung unlawful aggression lang yung na-prove ni accused, hindi niya na-prove yung reasonable necessity ng paggamit niya ng means or method of preventing the unlawful aggression, at saka hindi niya na-prove yung lack of sufficient provocation on his part. So again, unlawful aggression lang dyan na-prove tayo. What will be the effect to his case? The effect of the case will now be an incomplete self-defense. What does that mean? Incomplete self-defense ang tawag natin dyan. In the case of incomplete self-defense, the accused will not be criminally liable. The accused cannot be exempted from criminal liability. Hindi rin siya pwedeng ma-exempt from civil liability. Pero ano mangyayari? There is what we call ordinary mitigating circumstance under Article 13. Ibig sabihin, mababawasan yung penalty niya. Next situation. Paano pag dalawa dun sa tatlo ang present or yung na-prove ng accused, yung isa wala? In this situation, what are examples? If our accused was able to prove na may unlawful aggression at saka he was able to prove lack of sufficient provocation on his part, ngam, handa nga na-prove dyan number 2. Hindi na-prove yung number 2, yung reasonable necessity. At saka another example, paano pag yung number 1 and 2 naman yung na-prove niya pero yung number 3 hindi? So may isa lagi na hindi na kumpleto. Basta exact lang unlawful aggression. What will now be the effect to his case? We have here privilege mitigating circumstance under Article 69. Ibig sabihin, there will also be a decrease in their penalty. Mas malaki yung bawas sa penalty niya compared sa ordinary. Example ng privilege mitigating circumstance. In the case of your afflictive penalties, we have reclusion perpetua, reclusion temporal, and we have prison mayor. These are all penalties under afflictive. In this situation, pag nahatulan ng reclusion perpetua yung akusado natin, pero may incomplete self-defense siya, he is he is now entitled to your privilege mitigating circumstance. Ibig sabihin, bababa sa 1 or 2 degrees yung penalty niya. Ibig sabihin, instead of reclusion perpetua, either magiging reclusion temporal or magiging prison mayor. Kasi nga, na-prove naman niya na may unlawful aggression at saka may isa pang element. Yun nga lang, kumulang. So, he should be entitled with privilege mitigating circumstance. Next situation. Okay, di ba sinabi natin dun sa elements natin ng self-defense? Ayan, kailangan mong ma-prove yung tatlong elements before you can claim self-defense. Question now, in what instance can the accused not be criminally liable even in the absence of any of the conditions of self-defense? Ibig sabihin, kailan pwedeng hindi pa rin nako-consider na criminally liable ang isang akusado kahit na hindi niya na-prove lahat ng elements ng self-defense. So what is an example of that instance? We have what we call your battered woman syndrome under the Anti-Vowsy Law or RA 9262. Ano ba tong battered woman syndrome daw? In your battered woman syndrome, this is an instance where the woman is exposed to, yung woman daw is exposed to Ano ba yung battered woman syndrome? Under your 9262, remember, di ba, yun yung mga babae na inaabuso ng partners nila. Whether they be their boyfriend or asawa or any person kahit hindi niya boyfriend, hindi niya asawa, pero merong sexual relation with that guy or with that person. Under your battered woman syndrome, the woman daw undergoes or the woman will now experience three stages of this specific cycle. Dun sa unang stage daw ng battered woman syndrome, the woman experiences slight abuse. Kumbaga parang pakonti-konti lang na forms of abuse coming from their partners. Ibig sabihin sa stage na to, may konting minumura ng lalaki yung babae, pero hindi naman ganun kalala. Or examples would be kinukurot lagi ng lalaki, ano pa, hinahawakan ng mahigpit yung babae. This is an example of the first stage. Nung sa second daw na cycle or stage ng cycle ng battered woman syndrome, the man now becomes heavily abusive. Ibig sabihin, yung partner ng babae, doon na nakikita yung mga sobra or malalang forms of abuse. Example would be pananakit. So that is now punching the face of the woman. What else? Severe verbal abuse. Kanya pa iba. These are instances where you would now see that the woman is black and blue. May pasa sa may black eye, may pasa sa different parts of their bodies. And then the third stage daw ng battered woman syndrome, dito na yung parang honeymoon stage ulit. In this instance, anong ginagawa ng lalaki after niya binugbog yung babae? Nagsusorry siya bigla, nagiging sweet siya bigla, bumibili ng flowers, binibilhan ng gamit yung babae. Tapos sasabihin niya dun sa babae, naramit ko lang matiyay, tani, kay kahit ko sika, mga ganon, mga palusot ng mga lalaki. In this situation, you call that your honeymoon stage. After this stage, always remember that under your battered woman syndrome, babalik daw at babalik yung cycle sa slight abuse. So if the woman is able to experience this cycle for more than 3 times or 3 instances, pasok na po siya sa battered woman syndrome natin. So what will happen under this situation? Example, A is the woman. A is being um, chronically abused by her husband B. So in this situation, lagi or matagal na, yun yung chronic, matagal nang inaabuso, physically abuse. Matagal na ang inaabuso ni B yung wife niyang si A physically. So binubugbog niya, what else? Hinahampas niya ng kung ano-ano. So in this situation, because of the chronic or long-term physical abuse by B, hindi na kinaya ni A. So what did A do? She now started to A attack B. A attack B with a bat. Ayan. Hinampas na ni A si B with a bat. B was injured. B now filed charges for serious physical injuries against A. Can A invoke? Okay, yan na yung question. So again, the situation is A has been chronically or has been physically abused for a very long time by her husband B. Dahil dito, hindi na kinaya ni A. A now attacked B with a bat, injuring B. Dahil sa injury ni B, nag-file ng kaso dun sa asawa niyang babae. Can A now invoke self-defense or is A protected in this situation? Yes. If A is able to prove na yung case niya is an example of battered woman syndrome, then she will not be criminally liable and she will also be exempted from civil liability in this situation. Kasi nga sabi natin, di ba, under your battered woman syndrome, even though the elements of self-defense have not been satisfied at all, they will still be protected or magiging exempt sila from criminal liability under Section 26 of your VAUSI law.